Grace and peace be with all of you, our St. Luke community and friends. God willing, since we have entered Chicago to Tier 1 COVID protocols, we will be able to go back to church again. The protocols call for up to 50 people, socially distanced. We've been able to accomplish that before, and it is my hope and prayer that on Transfiguration Sunday, February the 14th, we will again resume in-person worship with Eucharist at both the 8:30 and 10:30 liturgies, with our confirmation Sunday school in between at 9:30, and evening tea at 6 p.m. As we look forward to again being together in church, those of us who are able, realizing that many can't and shouldn't, I want to share with you my top 10 list of things that I've noticed about ministry and life in a time of pandemic. And these are in no particular order, and it's meant to encourage you to see what's in your wallet, what's on your list. But these are some things that I've noticed. One, the Reformation was actually a pastoral care movement to restore the gospel to the people. And we've had to invent ways to do pastoral care in a time when we can't be together. And so one of the things I've noticed is that some things like Zoom, like our Bible study, weekly Bible study, our evening tea or coffee hour, the things our parish is doing on the third Thursdays and other opportunities for Bible study and spiritual growth, those have helped us come together to get to know each other. They've become, for some of us, absolutely necessary for our sense of being in community and in ministry and relationship with each other. So that's number one, invented pastoral care. And we've developed some muscles around that we are going to continue, even if there is a time when we go back to normal. Second, in a time when we can't sing together, it seems to me that music has become even more essential and emotional. I know some of you have told me, and I've felt it myself, that sometimes we're near tears when we hear Lucy sing a hymn we love, or Adam on the trumpet, or the wonderful toccata and fugue at our anniversary last Sunday as Don played Bach as we exited the worship. My moment was when Lucy in one of our liturgies sang, "My Lord, what a morning," because it brought me back to singing that song at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church on Central Park West, when we had all gathered for the first time as clergy and lay leaders in the tri-state area after September 11th. And I had emerged with President David Benke of the Atlantic District and President Kieschnick of the Missouri Synod and Bishop Anderson of the ELCA. We just emerged from ground zero, went into that church. We were covered with dust and death, and we heard and saw and sang with all of our loved ones, "My Lord, what a morning." So music, it seems to me, registers an even deeper note when we can't sing together. Third, the building paradoxically has become both less important and more important. We have a magnificent structure, and of course our education building is being used for St. Luke Academy, but we can't be in church, and so we've realized anew how important is the community, the beloved community of the saints together, and ways in which we continue to worship even if we can't be in our building. And yet People have come by from the neighborhood and rang the doorbell and asked if they can just sit in the building, in the church, in the sanctuary. Some of you have expressed that. The first time we went back to worship in person, some of you and I were just stunned to silence and tears at being again in that magnificent church. So I think it's complicated, but there is that real kind of yes, the church is not a building, and yes, we have, as a part of our mission to our neighborhood and to each other, provided sacred space that will always be in our hearts, even if we can't be there. Fourth, I feel kind of a sense of drift, lack of concrete accomplishments. People have told me that in their lives as well. I mean, it used to be that I could go and visit the homebound, bring them communion, especially during the holy seasons of Christmas and Easter. There'd be a sense of visits made, of new members or potential members being visited, and I'm realizing how hard it is to feel like we've gotten anything really done. And that sense of drift is something that I think we all feel. Next, once you leave your doors, hasn't the world become a little more dangerous place? That hymn, I'm but a stranger here, heaven is my home. Well, more and more, I think some of you have expressed that to me, that it's that kind of a low-grade anxiety all the time, that the world out there is not a welcoming place right now. It's a place that we fear. We all are longing to get the vaccination, and even then we're just kind of wondering. And I think that is our mission context in this sense of drift in the world that's become a little more of an alien place, to really, again, hear the gospel, that there is security, there is comfort. The world is safe because he's got the whole world in his hands. I think another one is that as people are dying at incredible rates around us, as it touches our extended families and loved ones, I think we all think about our own mortality more. I know I do. I am reminded, because I can't just lose myself in a bunch of activity and stuff. We're all just kind of stuck, that our lives are finite, that we will die. I think about that. But again, doesn't the gospel give us a wonderful context to think about that? I think that we need to pay attention to the toll that this is taking on people with mental health issues. And I think also realize within ourselves how challenged we are, that sometimes there's just a low-grade depression that's with us all the time. And also sometimes I'm surprised, maybe you are too, that a feeling of anger just kind of comes to the surface, that it's so close to the surface. It is a time to really care for and about each other. But isn't that what the church is made for? I'm thinking as well that there's been a wall built between the generations. Our loved ones in nursing homes that we can't see, their grandchildren can't bring them Valentine's cards. The things we used to do, the church is a place where the gifts are given across the generations. Seasonings, that wonderful program with older adults and academy kids, or just noticing the generations that worship together. I miss that, and I know we do too. And then I think about essential workers. We lift them up, those that deliver our food, that are front lines in health. But I'm thinking also of those essential workers at St. Luke who know how to do the Zoom, who bring us music, who are a part of the governance of the church, who make important decisions. I think of our last voters meeting and how each one of those of us at the voters meeting was an essential worker in building up the gospel and helping place our ministry forward. All of this, finally, I think gives us clarity about the main things. I have a real clarity about the gospel, the bottom line, that the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ for the life of the world is everything. And with that as our compass, and realizing that it's about relationships and how much we miss being in the room together in Christ, but how much we're trying to stay in touch. At the center of it all is the gospel, that God was in Christ, reconciling the world and you and me to God and to each other. With the gospel at the heart, we'll get through this, and our destination is eternal.